So if you're a parent or really any kind of mentor deeply invested in a child's future, you already know the sheer weight of just wanting them to succeed. You want them to reach their absolute peak, right? But looking out at the modern educational landscape today, man, it is so easy to feel completely overwhelmed by how unpredictable the whole thing is. Well, in today's Explainer, we're going to unpack a brilliant, totally mindset-shifting framework straight from our source material. It's really going to help us reframe our kids' journeys, moving us away from all that anxiety about a rigid school system and towards some actual empowering steps you can start taking right now. Let's get into it.
All right, let's just rip the Band-Aid off right away and confront a pretty difficult truth about traditional education. As a parent, you have absolutely zero control over the syllabus your child is forced to follow. We spend so much time stressing out about the exact curriculum or the specific textbooks and those standardized milestones our kids are constantly measured against. But the reality? That syllabus is decided by boards and institutions completely removed from your dining room table. It's actually kind of absurd when you think about it. You've got a group of bureaucrats in some distant office basically deciding exactly how your child's brain is supposed to process math on a Tuesday afternoon. You can't dictate that curriculum. And honestly, fighting it is usually just a one-way ticket to complete frustration. And to compound that frustration, we hit our second immovable object. Because even if that syllabus were magically perfect, the actual quality of the education being delivered inside their school or college, yeah, that's completely out of your hands too. The day-to-day execution of a lesson plan changes constantly. Just think about the sheer unpredictability of a classroom environment for a second. You could have a brilliant teacher who is just having an off day because they didn't sleep well. Or, maybe a perfectly planned chemistry lesson gets completely derailed by a random fire drill or a disruptive classmate. You literally cannot control the educator's energy levels, the resources they have that specific week, or if a complex concept is actually clicking with your child. That quality variable is just a massive ongoing unknown.
So when you zoom out and look at all these factors together, it paints a really specific and honestly very relatable picture of our educational reality. The school syllabus, the college syllabus later down the line, and the day-to-day quality of the teaching, they're all entirely out of your control. For any dedicated parent, realizing this can feel a bit like trying to steer a massive ship at the steering wheel. It creates this creeping anxiety that your child's academic and personal future is just totally at the mercy of this untouchable, highly imperfect system. And that right there is exactly why so many parents lose sleep trying to micromanage the tiny few things they actually can.
But hold on, because our source material stops us right there and offers a pretty fascinating pivot away from all that anxiety. It drops this absolutely crucial statement. But you can still ensure your child succeeds. I mean, really, let those words sink in for a second. Despite the complete lack of systemic control over the syllabus and the teaching quality, the final outcome, your child's actual real-world success, is not forfeited to the system. The text is essentially arguing that the school board does not have the final say on your child's potential. You absolutely can still ensure they succeed, provided you change your approach.
Which, of course, brings us to the ultimate question we need to unpack here. If the formal education system is effectively this giant black box, how exactly do you guarantee that outcome? If the daily curriculum and the unpredictable teaching quality are totally beyond your reach, how in the world do you bridge the gap between a flawed system and the ultimate success you want for your kid? Simply put, if we can't change the school, what exactly are we supposed to change?
Well, the answer provided by the text is a deeply proactive solution. You step in and you start what is identified as the Yancha process. Now, what exactly is that? The source makes it clear this is not some rigorous academic tutoring schedule you force on them after school. It's actually a deliberate daily philosophy of engagement at home. It's about shifting your own role from being a homework enforcer to becoming a curiosity facilitator. The Yancha process means intentionally creating an environment that nurtures your child's inherent strengths, their emotional intelligence, and their adaptable problem-solving skills, rather than just obsessing over rote academic milestones. It is all about actively fostering their resilience and their independent thinking. So instead of fighting a losing battle against the institutional syllabus, you're initiating this alternative parallel pathway of real-world development right under your own roof. So practically speaking, your job description shifts into 3 distinct, actionable steps. First, you start the Yancha process. Second, you guide it. And third, you watch your child evolve. Let's look at a concrete scenario from the source to see how this actually plays out. Imagine your child is just deeply frustrated by some complex science project. The traditional, control-focused reaction might be to jump in, micromanage their schedule, or maybe even just do the work for them to secure that good grade. But starting the Yancha process means you step back. You ask open-ended questions about how they want to tackle the problem.
Guiding the process means you offer resources, or maybe you're just the sounding board, but you allow them the space to struggle safely and figure it out. The result? You actually get to watch them naturally evolve. They build genuine problem-solving skills and confidence, which is what real success actually requires, rather than just having knowledge forced into them like they're on a factory assembly line.
I really want to zero in on this concept of being a guide. To guide means you're actively directing this environment of curiosity and resilience, which is what allows your child to achieve their potential. You aren't just passively crossing your fingers and hoping the school syllabus works out, but you also aren't aggressively dictating their every move. Think of it like a mountain guide. A guide doesn't physically carry the climber on their back, right? And they didn't build the mountain either. Instead, a great guide illuminates the best route, helps navigate the really treacherous obstacles, and teaches the climber how to survive the elements so they can reach that peak under their own power. That's what you're doing. You're transitioning from a manager of tasks to a mentor of their unique evolution.
So it really comes down to weighing two very different realities against each other. On one hand, you have the rigid gears of a system we simply cannot change: the syllabus, the institutions, the totally fluctuating quality of classroom education. Fixating on that side of things, that only breeds stress and makes you feel powerless. But on the other hand, we have this organic, dynamic growth that you can actually influence. You can guide the interprocess, and by doing so, you're guiding your child's evolution to success. The core takeaway from our source material here is a massive reallocation of your mental resources. It's about acknowledging and accepting the systemic things you can't control, and then completely pouring your dedication, your time, and your energy into the side of the equation you absolutely can guide.
We've moved from this really helpless reality of uncontrollable educational systems straight into the empowering realization that a child's success is still entirely within your reach. Mastering potential isn't about mastering the school board or fighting with the principal over a curriculum. It's about mastering your role in your child's guided evolution at home. Honestly, the most important action you can take today is just shifting the focus at your dinner table tonight. Move away from asking, "Hey, what grade did you get?" and try asking, "What problem did you figure out today?" As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final thought to reflect on. Are you ready to finally stop worrying about a system you cannot change and step fully into the role of guiding your child's evolution toward their own ultimate success?